For centuries, royal families across the globe have turned to marrying within their own bloodlines, consanguinity, to preserve power, wealth, and that oh-so-precious, pure heritage. It sounded brilliant in theory. Lock in the dynasty by pairing cousins or siblings, and even settle family feuds with a strategic wedding. But as any genetics buff knows, this practice backfired spectacularly, unleashing a torrent of health horrors that crippled empires and sparked historical upheavals. Fast forward to today, with our understanding of DNA, we see how inbreeding amplifies harmful recessive genes, slashing genetic diversity and boosting risks for everything from hemophilia to skeletal deformities. Historians even link it to the fragile alliances that ignited World War I. And let's not forget the sky-high infant mortality rates among royal kids, far worse than the average populace, proving that crowns often came with a curse. If you're ever tempted to envy monarchs, this rundown of royal inbreeding nightmares might make you grateful for your non-blue blood. For more historical profiles and deep dives into the past, taking you straight to the heart of history's most compelling moments, subscribe and turn on notifications. Kicking off our list, King Charles II of Spain, the tragic poster child for Habsburg over-inbreeding. This powerhouse dynasty dominated Europe from the 1200s, ruling over Austria, Spain, and the ironically named Holy Roman Empire until the early 1900s. Fun fact, Marie Antoinette, guillotined during the French Revolution, was a Habsburg herself. But their obsession with family ties doomed them. Juana of Castile pops up a whopping 14 times in their genealogy, creating a genetic bottleneck. The signature Habsburgjaw, a protruding lower jaw paired with an enlarged tongue, turned basics like chewing or chatting into ordeals, often leading to constant drooling. Charles II took it to extremes. His inbreeding coefficient exceeded that of a child born to siblings, leaving him barely able to speak or eat properly. He didn't walk until age 8, and even then it was a struggle. No wonder he struck out in the romance department. 2 marriages, 0 kids, likely due to infertility from his messed up genes. He passed away at just 39 in 1700, heirless, slamming the door on Habsburg control in Spain and paving the way for the Bourbon line. Modern genetic analyses, like a 2009 study in PLOS1, have confirmed his genome was riddled with homozygous regions, explaining the chaos. It's a stark reminder, even today, while most royals like Britain's Windsors opt for diverse matches, think Prince William and Kate Middleton, isolated communities still face similar risk from cousin marriages. Number 2. Joanna of Castile's obsession with her husband's body turned her into a legend of madness. Born into the Trastamara dynasty, riddled with cousin unions for generations, Joanna, sister to Catherine of Aragon, faced a genetic lottery stacked against her. Her folks, Ferdinand and Isabella, were second cousins, potentially contributing to fertility woes in the family like Catherine's struggles to produce heirs. Sharp and curious as a kid, but prone to mood swings, Joanna wed at 16 to Philip the Handsome, heir to the Habsburgs, and no stranger to inbreeding himself. Despite his notorious affairs, she was head over heels. Thrust onto the throne after her siblings' untimely deaths, Philip's infidelity triggered a severe breakdown. She even attacked one mistress by stabbing her face. His sudden death shattered her. She clung to his embalmed corpse, traveling with it and sleeping nearby, earning the moniker Juana la Loca. Her story echoes in art, inspiring operas like Donizetti's Anna Bolena and shedding light on how untreated mental health issues, possibly amplified by genetics, were weaponized to sideline powerful women. Number 3. Austria's Ferdinand I found joy in rolling in wastebaskets amid his royal duties. A direct descendant of Joanna, born in 1793, to double first cousins, Emperor Francis II and Maria Theresa, Ferdinand grappled with hydrocephalus, water on the brain, which pressured his skull, causing developmental delays and brain damage, a Habsburg hallmark alongside their protruding jaws, and epilepsy. Deemed heir despite his challenges to uphold succession purity, he nominally ruled Austria, Hungary, Bohemia, Lombardy, and Venetia from 1835. In reality, advisors pulled the strings while he enjoyed simple quirks like perching on an upturned trash bin and spinning across the floor. He lasted 18 years before abdicating to nephew Franz Joseph in 1848, living to 82 and marking the end of Habsburg Bohemian kings. This quirk's overpower dynamic parallels cases like Russia's Tsarevich Alexei, whose hemophilia, another inbreeding gift, kept him sidelined. Nowadays, hydrocephalus is often managed with shunts, turning what was once a royal curse into a treatable condition. Insight from neurosurgery advances since the 1950s. Number 4. Queen Victoria unwittingly seeded hemophilia across Europe's crowns. Dubbed the grandmother of Europe, Victoria's lineage touched thrones everywhere. Her daughter Alice birthed Russia's last Tsarina Alexandra, while descendants included India's final viceroy and Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh. Married to first cousin Prince Albert, all 9 kids carried inbred traits. Victoria harbored the hemophilia gene, a blood clotting defect that barely affected her but ravaged her offspring. One son and multiple grandsons perished young from bleeds or complications. It famously plagued the Romanovs, where Alexei's condition fueled Rasputin's rise and contributed to the dynasty's fall. Number 5. Alexei Romanov's royal disease might have tipped the scales toward revolution. As Queen Victoria's grandson, young Alexei inherited hemophilia, the infamous clotting disorder that ravaged Europe's elite families. His terrifying bleeding episodes drove his desperate mother, Tsarina Alexandra, to rely on the enigmatic mystic Rasputin, whose hypnotic healing sessions gave him outsized sway in the Russian court. While Nicholas II and Alexandra believed Rasputin was a miracle worker, the nobility saw him as a drunken, lecherous symbol of imperial decay, fueling widespread resentment. This turmoil boiled over into the 1917 revolution, toppling the Romanovs and leading to their tragic execution. Whether Alexei's condition directly sparked the uprising is debated, but it undoubtedly weakened the regime. Number 6. Princess Victoria Melita endured endless family drama from her tangled royal web. Dodging hemophilia's bullet as Queen Victoria's granddaughter, she still navigated a minefield of relational headaches thanks to Europe's interconnected dynasties. Pushed into marrying her cousin, the Grand Duke of Hesse, their union was a storm of constant clashes, her fiery temper clashing with his blatant affairs, including bedroom betrayal she discovered firsthand. They lost their young daughter Elizabeth at age 8 and a stillborn son, deepening the misery. After Victoria's death lifted the taboo, they divorced, freeing her to wed her true love and another cousin, Grand Duke Kirill Vladimirovich. But without Tsar Nicholas II's blessing, since Kirill was kin to both Nicholas and Alexandra, they faced exile from Russia until royal deaths thrust Kirill into the succession line. This echoes the House of Hanover's inbreeding legacy, which ended with Victoria. Insight: similar cousin marriage bans in places like some U.S. states today stem from these very risks. Number 7. England's King George III battled madness that may have cost him the colonies. From the inbreeding-plagued House of Hanover, George III, the monarch who fumbled the American Revolution, likely suffered from a genetic mental disorder, once thought to be porphyria, causing mad episodes and blue-tinted urine, but now often pinned on bipolar disorder by experts analyzing his erratic writings. In manic phases, he'd ramble endlessly, crafting 400-word sentences until foaming at the mouth, earning the Mad King label. Treatments were brutal, straitjackets and cold plunges. His skin woes, treated with gentian, which discolors urine, fueled the porphyria myth. No wonder governing faltered during his reign. A 2017 study in the Journal of the Royal Society of Medicine reviewed his medical records, leaning toward arsenic poisoning from treatments exacerbating bipolar traits. Another layer to how inbreeding met poor medicine. Number 8. Portugal's Queen Maria I descended into pious frenzy amid inbreeding woes. Hailing from a lineage thick with close kin unions, Maria married her uncle, making their son João both nephew and cousin. Deeply religious to excess from youth, her piety veered into mania, with howling fits echoing through palaces. The 1791 death of her confessor unleashed screaming rages over her doomed soul. Enter Dr. Francis Willis, fresh from treating England's George III, who deemed her mad and prescribed torturous cures like induced blisters, laxatives, and ice baths, none effective, of course. Incapacitated, she ceded duties to a regent. Prince João, hampered by his own genetic issues, stepped in reluctantly by 1799. When Napoleon invaded, the family bolted to Brazil, where Maria died in 1816. Number 9. King Ludwig II, likewise a member of the Wittelsbach dynasty, was renowned for being profoundly disconnected from the practical world. Following a century after Marie Antoinette of France, herself a Habsburg who might have avoided the most severe consequences of inbreeding, who was famous for her lavishness and costly preferences, Bavaria's King Ludwig II constructed immense, luxurious castles as a method of retreating from actual life. He gained notoriety for his psychological instability and total detachment from the tangible environment surrounding him. During Ludwig's youth, his mother observed his fondness for elaborate costumes and a rich inner fantasy life. Upon assuming the throne at 18, he lacked any governing or political experience, yet retained the imaginative outlook of a child. To maintain his existence within the fantasy realm he had fashioned, he became the private benefactor of the musician Richard Wagner. Within his domain of splendid castles and creative pursuits, he enjoyed every royal comfort, but fulfilled none of a monarch's duties. Simultaneously, the Bavarian administration found it challenging to manage the kingdom while restraining the sovereign's extravagant spending. After his removal from power and subsequent assassination in 1886, his sibling Otto became king. Nonetheless, a regent governed on his behalf, as Otto was deemed to suffer from even greater mental delusions than Ludwig. Number 10. King Tut possessed a cleft palate and an abnormally lengthened skull. Consanguinity, or marriage between close relatives, did not originate in Europe. It can be traced back to ancient Egypt, where the goddess Isis wed her brother, Osiris, to preserve a sacred lineage. Numerous pharaohs upheld this custom, among them the parents of the famed ruler Tutankhamun. Although popular culture frequently portrays him as a youthful monarch who would have required great confidence and physical power, he was likely a fragile and ailing boy. Examinations of his mummy indicate he suffered from a cleft palate, a clubfoot, and an elongated skull, in addition to chronic malaria. Instead of racing along Egyptian thoroughfares in a chariot, he probably needed to walk using a cane. The inaugural genetic analysis ever performed on an Egyptian mummy was conducted on King Tut, and it disclosed that he was indeed the result of significant inbreeding. In fact, his mother was probably not Nefertiti as earlier believed, but rather a sister of King Akhenaten. Owing to the weakened immune system caused by his lineage, the young pharaoh was likely not assassinated, but perished because his body could not manage the necrosis in his foot, combined with chronic malaria and additional infections. In spite of his physical frailty, King Tut repeated his father's error by marrying his own sister. Their offspring did not live. Number 11. Cleopatra was far from the legendary beauty of lore. She was likely quite overweight. Historical accounts portray Cleopatra not merely as a formidable female leader, but also as a captivating figure of allure who famously had herself delivered to Julius Caesar, concealed within a rolled carpet. Yet, the Cleopatra of popular imagination shares almost no similarities with the true Egyptian monarch. In reality, a modern viewer might fail to identify her entirely. Cleopatra belonged to the Ptolemaic line, a dynasty whose tradition dictated that parents be sibling spouses. Indeed, rulers were obliged to wed their sisters to legitimize their claim to power. Cleopatra herself was wedded to her 10-year-old brother when she was just 18, and would later enter into marriage with another of her brothers as well. Consistent with her familial heritage, she displayed the physical hallmarks of inbreeding, one of which was probable obesity. Archaeologists have noted that numerous Egyptian royals carried excess weight, attributable partly at least to an ample consumption of beer and bread. However, repeated intermarriage within the family likely also contributed. Cleopatra's own features included a prominent, aquiline nose, a broad, circular face, and a heavy chin with folds beneath it. Roman propaganda likely fashioned her into the peerless beauty we imagine now, but she bore no resemblance to Elizabeth Taylor, who portrayed her in the 1963 film. Number 12. During the early 19th century, Princess Nahienaena of Hawaii received her schooling from Protestant missionaries. From a young age, she had also shared a profound emotional attachment with her brother, King Kamehameha III, and was exceedingly willing to become his wife, much to the dismay of the missionary teachers. The strength of ministerial authority was challenged by enduring custom, as intermarriage was a common royal practice to maintain purity of lineage. Following the siblings' marriage in 1825, she was formally excommunicated. Nahienaena felt genuine remorse and was sincerely repentant, holding the missionaries in very high esteem. Nevertheless, the church did not grant her forgiveness, and it was later discovered she was expecting her brother's child. Her recently converted community turned their backs on her, forcing her into a solitary existence until the infant was born. The newborn lived only a matter of hours, likely due to hereditary complications from many generations of inbreeding, and the shamed princess remained in a state of profound trauma and sorrow for her remaining days. She was readmitted into the church not long before she passed away. Number 13. King Rama V, though possessing numerous wives, presented only a single one in public view. King Chulalongkorn, or Rama V, was famously depicted in the fictional tale of Anna and the King, having been among the pupils taught by the British governess Anna Leonowens. The Chakri dynasty, to which Rama V belonged, regularly practiced marriage between cousins and kin. It was customary for kings to maintain large harems, resulting in scores of offspring. Numerous half-siblings raised within these royal households went on to wed one another. Despite being part of a system that often produced the severe flaws of inbreeding, such as the Habsburgjaw or mental instability, King Rama V is widely honored for modernizing Siam, present-day Thailand, and preventing its colonization by Britain. He established public hospitals, constructed railways, and ended the practice of slavery. From a harem consisting of 153 wives, concubines, and consorts, he had 77 children. Many of these children were dispatched to Europe to receive a formal education. Yet, aware of the disapproval he would face from Western rulers, he made a point of appearing publicly with just one of his wives, Queen Salvaba. The embarrassment he anticipated arose less from his polygamy than from the incestuous nature of his marriages, since a great number of his wives were biologically connected to him. He maintained, however, that his choice to be seen with only one spouse was rooted in tradition. Number 14. The madness of Nero might have resulted from inbreeding. Contemporary historians have dedicated significant study to uncovering the grim realities of Roman society, including the widespread lead poisoning and its role in the decline of history's most formidable empire. A specific area of Roman history that captures the attention of some scholars is how incest and inbreeding could have induced mental instability in the emperors. Furthermore, arguably, no emperor is more notorious for insanity than Nero, the ruler who allegedly played music while Rome was consumed by fire and was rumored to have engaged in relations and had sex with his own mother. Roman nobility frequently wed within the family for reasons similar to later European monarchies, to concentrate wealth and status among relatives, and to minimize disputes regarding succession. Nero was born to a niece who married her own uncle, Agrippina and Claudius, whose ancestry may have involved generational inbreeding. Agrippina consented to the marriage to secure her son's position as heir, a decision that would eventually prove rather hazardous for the Roman populace. Not only did lead poisoning severely erode his cognitive abilities, but his consanguineous lineage may have ensured he possessed limited faculties from the outset. While Nero remains perhaps the most infamous Roman emperor, he was certainly not the only one whose family tree showed remarkably few branches. Number 15. Caligula, also called Gaius Caesar, faced allegations from many quarters of committing incestuous relations with his sisters, a charge that remains unproven. He sprang from a lineage where close kin frequently intermarried to preserve wealth, authority, and the purity of the family line. His rule became notorious for its blend of depravity and insanity. His father, Germanicus, was adored by Rome's citizens, and expecting Caligula to share those virtues, they eagerly crowned him emperor. Yet, following a sickness that struck half a year after his accession, he demonstrated he was nothing like his father. Caligula compelled mothers and fathers to witness their children being tortured and put to death. Asserting his own divinity, he ordered a bridge constructed between the temple of Zeus and his palace to facilitate conversations with the god. His unhappy public assassinated him when, after a public contest, members of his guardsmen stabbed him 30 times. Thank you for joining me in the pages of history today. If you want to uncover more stories like this, please subscribe to the channel. Your support truly helps us keep exploring the past. I'll see you in the next video.